Hi, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday's live stream. How are you? This is Wednesday's live stream. Like I just said, I live stream twice a week. Sundays for Soothing Sundays at 5 p.m. and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. And I'm here to answer your questions about mental health, relationships, personality disorders, your healing journey, what you're going through. Please share because what you're going through, I promise you, you're not alone, and your questions also help other people. So I love when you guys and people that join my live stream ask such good questions. So feel free to do that. I am opening up here we go. So have that open up. So the first thing I'm going to do, hey Bob, how are you? My week is going well. It's been an action-packed week. How has yours been? I feel like, and I actually looked it up like in astrology because I really do feel like our energy systems are affected by that. And of course, like that means our nervous system and everything else. And it's just like, I don't know, people are kind of in a funk or kind of in kind of a weird space. But getting through it, like my clients and everything, it went from everyone was feeling elevated to feeling kind of like in a funk. But just like all emotions are energy in motion. So if you're experiencing an emotion that you don't want to feel, that's okay. That's okay. You could acknowledge it. You can notice that it's there and be like, yeah, I'm choosing to let this go, really surrendering the emotion, because a lot of times what we try to do is fight it or stuff it or numb it or bury it. And remember, what you bury alive. So we don't want to do that. And then when we have feelings that we actually like, we want to use them. We want to use them as like inspiration or take that time to relax or do something that we enjoy doing. So, but knowing that we don't have to attach, not only do we not have to, we shouldn't attach to any emotion, because if we attach to like joy or something like elevated emotion that we like, it could turn into an addiction where we're always seeking that. So a really good marker of mental health, like actually having good mental health and emotional health, is being okay with whatever emotions come up. They're all information. Your emotions are often your GPS system too. So that's always a good thing. I'm good. I'd finally came. Oh, your ID finally came. Yes, good. We love that. Just in time for the move, thankfully. Yay. Okay, but now that your ID came, do you have to change your address on your ID, or was it already for the new one? And is it for like a Texas ID? I think, I don't know if it matters, or if you could keep your Massachusetts one. Rob, hi Rob. Good evening, Lauren. It's been a while. It has. Transitions all around. What have you been up to? What transitions have been going on, Rob? Been using your powerful shorts as fuel and motivation. Oh, nice. Which ones have helped? I like to know which ones are most helpful, and I just usually go on like views, because then I'll make more of that content if it's helpful to you guys. We'll talk soon. Hey, Bob. Hold it. Yes, Bob is holding it down up in here. And then Jamar. Hi, Jamar. How are you? All right. So yeah, Rob, fill us in. I want the details on your transitions and everything. And so anyway, so oh yeah, what I was going to talk about, I think because of this trial, everyone's asking, what is the difference between narcissists and sociopaths, what's known as antisocial personality disorder. And so there's a lot of overlap. I've always referred to it, because it feels this way. It feels like narcissistic personality disorder on steroids, narcissistic personality disorder and more callous. And there's two big differences. Like narcissists they have the grandiosity, like I'm amazing, and they want that ego validation. Both of them don't want to take responsibility or any type of accountability, but the narcissist wants that ego validation and views everyone as supply, to get their ego validated. And also because they have guilt and shame they refuse to look at, because that requires accountability. So they use people, the closer you are to them, they use them to offload their guilt and shame and just any feelings. Like they're very judgmental. I'm sure you've noticed that they talk shit about everyone, even people that are really nice to them, they will talk shit about them. And so because they're always projecting all of their feelings onto other people. So they use people for that. That is their main thing. And even though they're very judgmental and they talk a lot of shit, they need people they very much care about what people think about them. And so if you don't like them, they get very pissed. Then there's a smear campaign going on. And that is also to manage how other people feel about them. So it's like, no, they're the bad guy. And so they start rumors and smear campaigns. So that's the primary motivation of a narcissist. Whereas sociopaths, they don't really give a fuck. They're more callous and they just want what they want. A lot of their motivation comes from power and control. And they also enjoy hurting people. They enjoy other people's pain. Whereas a narcissist will offload their guilt and shame and the other person feels horrible or whatever. And they feel relief. Like a narcissist will feel relief when they make you feel like shit, because it's like, oh, I don't have to feel that anymore. And some of them do feel pleasure from that, but the pleasure from a narcissist comes from you care about me. Again, it's all about me. So if I made you upset, it means you like me. It means I have some type of effect on you. Whereas sociopaths or antisocial personality disorder, they just enjoy it. They get pleasure out of it, and the rules don't apply to them. And there's just like no like reverence or for the rules or anything, and they really do believe that the rules don't apply to them. And yeah, so, and again, like a lot of people are asking about this because of like this trial that's going on. And in my little humble opinion, I do think that, like, from everything that we're learning, and then, just like the extra stuff from social media, I feel like Patrick is more on the sociopathic side because of he just doesn't seem to care, and I don't know if you're following this part, but the current wife that he met her before he met his ex-wife. And then I guess now that she's back in the picture, he's like, okay, let me delete this situation that I have going on, this whole family thing, so I could be with you. That's way more sociopathic. And then also the whole, like, rules don't apply. Like if he did have his friend go to CVS and, like, all the cover-ups that would, I mean, it's like, can you just be a little bit more detail oriented if you're going to, like, commit a huge, like, if you're going to murder your family? I don't mean it like cold like that, but I mean, it's like there's all of these things that don't add up. And I think, like, someone that's sociopathic would be like, whatever, I'll get away with it. The rules don't apply to me. And all this stuff coming out about, the all the connections and everything. It has a lot of antisocial flavor to it, in my opinion. So, and yeah, I don't, we'll see what happens with that, but maybe he could tell us from his jail cell what he was thinking, his prison cell eventually, like, sir, I mean, what were, like, some of the things weren't adding up, but I don't know. When you really believe the rules don't apply to you, you're probably not being real detail oriented when you're going around killing people. So who knows? Bob, I'll need to get another Texas ID, but it'll be so much easier having an ID already. That's true. Don't want to travel without one. Yeah, that I don't even think that's possible. Bob, was the CPS stuff fraudulent? I can't stand people that I can't read this right now. Stand people that do that to hurt other people. It can be so. Yes, I don't know a lot about the CPS stuff. I'm not, like, sitting there, like, glued. I haven't been watching the trial. I watched, like, people's updates. There's this one guy. Oh, his name's Matty Addy. And he's doing, like, a really good job. Like, he'll sit there and really research everything, like, for hours. And he puts together these really comprehensive videos about about the case. And so I've been watching his stuff and other people's synopsis of it, but I haven't heard anything about the CPS stuff, but it could be fraudulent. It's so hard with CPS. And, one of my jobs was when I was in grad school, I worked at a psych ward for children. And so a lot of them were, wards of the state, and, they held this, like, we were very attached to CPS. And it's really difficult, especially when you just want to keep the kids safe, of like what's actually true. And then, one parent is saying one thing and one caretaker. It's very rare that it's like, oh my God, take this kid away, and we did have kids like that were just like abandoned somewhere. And so it's a lot easier, but a lot of times parents are just like really abusive and it gets really murky. I'm so out of the loop with the current stuff. Oh, yeah, you have a lot going on. But we are sending you positive vibes. It's going to be a very smooth move. You're going to have like a nice train ride, Bob, and you're going to have a nice time in Texas. It'll be nice to move there, like, as it's transitioning into fall. Yay. So yeah, that's what I was saying about that. And then, but both of them, both narcissist and sociopaths or antisocial, they come off very charming. There's so much overlap. That's why if you've dealt with a narcissist, you often think they're sociopathic, because they could get really callous and they could really, just like, at the end of the day, it feels the same to you. It's like, I got used, and whatever the motivation is, it's just like, what you just feel used. And both feel like you are very disposable, because you are. Like, narcissists literally view people as supply. And the same with antisocial personality disorder. I'm just going to say sociopath because it's easier. But they're just used as like, what can I get from you to get more power and control? And but a lot of the tactics, a lot of the manipulation and everything, it presents so similar. So Bob, I have a friend whose ex called CPS on her because they were having a custody battle. Very common. Yeah. She had to sign her kids over to the grandparents to safeguard them. Big hassle for her. Yeah, it's really sad. And like, sometimes this like CPS will be called on a completely false allegation, just because it's usually just one parent is being like really immature and doesn't even care about the kids, but is just using them to keep a fight going with parents. And it's really sad because a lot of times, most of the time, the kids have to be interviewed. And so it's really traumatic for the children, and it's very scary for them. And it's all because, two parents can't put their differences aside. And usually the one that's doing that is the more caustic and toxic parent. So it sucks that it's that way, but it is. And then I was looking back at like one of the videos, like looking at clips and everything. And I was talking about spiral dynamics. I don't know if any of you guys were there when I was talking about spiral dynamics. And I was like, where's my book? And it's like actually right above, like in the video, like, right there, right? So that's my spiral dynamics book up there. And I was like looking over here for it. It was really funny. And so, but I'm going to go over it because it's right here. So this is spiral dynamics, and this guy and Maslow, because Maslow, the pyramid of needs. So they were like colleagues basically. And so Maslow, if you don't know, he invented. He has the Maslow hierarchy of needs, right? And so it's like survival, and then community, all the way up, and like at the top of the pyramid is like spirituality, connection with God, and everything. Like, and then there's like power, control. There's all these different things on the Maslow pyramid, right? But Maslow actually got those ideas, and we only hear about Maslow like if you ever go to a psychology, or if you've ever done a psychology class, it's usually Maslow will be covered. But spiral dynamics is a lot more intricate. It's the same theory, but he just breaks it down a lot in a lot more detail. And it's just about different personality types, people's different motivation, and it's also connected to like how we evolve. And here, I'm gonna look it up, and everything's color coded. And so instead of like Maslow's, like here's just the step up, like the pyramid. So he does his in color, and like the colors, they go from, I remember beige was the first one. It goes from beige, purple, red, blue. So there's no like real, it's not like the rainbow or anything. It's nothing sequential, but beige is about survival. So it's like food, shelter, just like at the bottom of the pyramid of Maslow's pyramid. And then purple people, there's like tribal and community. There's like a lot of spirituality, but it's very like family and tribal based. And then red is about power. So it's kind of like you get in the community and then you start to individuate. In psychology, it's called individuate. So it's kind of like, well, what do I want? What is my personal power? So it goes from like the whole, the collective and community to the individual like mindset. And then it's like, yeah, courage, personal freedom, dominance, independence, and status, which is really interesting. And then it goes to blue. So this is kind of like evolving up the scale, right? So the blue people, it's more about rules, morality, and their core question is, what is the right way to live? Like, what's the right thing to do? So here's community, here's my individual, like personal power and status. And then what's the right thing to do? So morals come into place, tradition, this is where religion can be used and law comes into place. And then the orange is about achievement. So it's like, what have I accomplished, right? And then a lot of people, if you're in the orange phase of your life, this could be like a midlife crisis. Like, what have I done? Like, what's my legacy? Or, and then also competition, entrepreneurship, thinking outside of the box. But it's really like achievement and ambition. Oh, and then on each one, they have like a healthy, like, so if you're an orange person, like healthy orange, and then what's called the shadow side of it. So the shadow side of, for instance, like of orange is materialism, workaholism, like exploiting others to win, So each color has like a good side, if you will, and then a shadow side that gets to be worked on. And the green people, it's about community and equality. So it goes all the way up the thing. And so I don't know if I'll go through all of them, but the highest one is turquoise. And then he was saying like there's not a lot of like turquoise and blue people, but they're about interconnectedness and like real, like that are just like this is their actual core thing. And the shadow side is like, it can be spiritual bypassing. So these are the people that they're not really there yet, but they're like acting like that. Those people that it's like, oh yes, everything's just, I'm above that, but they're not. They're trying to spiritual bypass by saying, oh yeah, or like God will handle it, but they're still like being really toxic. So they're not like a true. And then he has like this second tier. And then in the second tier, there's like all this other stuff. But like I do executive coaching in part of my private practice, and I will work with like leaders or C-suite level people, and I'll teach them this because I'm like, this person is thinking like an orange person, or this person is like beige, like just survival. They're not thinking about community at all. They just like, want their paycheck or whatever. So even within like a work environment or any type of community, you could think of any type of community, like a church situation or within a family, there is a breakdown of like different types, like personality, or like in like levels of consciousness is really what he's talking about. And so even like within a family, maybe outside of your family, you're like a very high achieving, maybe more orange person, but inside the family, you're like beige, like you're just trying to survive. You don't care, like you're just whatever. Or you're a like a blue, like you're really into community and things like that. So yeah, those are the differences. And the highest one is actually blue turquoise. They go together, not blue or turquoise. But like, anyway, that is it. It gets really like, there's a lot to spiral dynamics. That's why Maslow was like, let me simplify it for people. And that's why we really like attach to that, or that's like what we teach in school mostly. But spiral dynamics is really cool and really, it gets so deep, and so it's a really good way to understand yourself and understand like family dynamics or any type of dynamic, a work dynamic, understand yourself better, or even like if you're in a relationship and like, because relationships are supposed to evolve. So maybe like your partner's in more of a red state of consciousness, but you're in an orange where you're thinking about your business and growing that. And like you can coexist, but like knowing other people's motivation and where they're coming from is so helpful. And when I've brought this into like companies and like taught CEOs and C-suite level people this, it's like ding, ding, ding. It like really makes sense more than a fucking Myers-Briggs test. And I'm not like putting Myers-Briggs down. Myers-Briggs is like the INFJ or what, that's what I am, but like it's only ENF, whatever, you know. But with those tests, it can, first of all, they're really long and you know, not hard to take, but they're long, you know, and then your results can change. But this is just going on motivation. This is like really easy to pinpoint like where you are with spiral dynamics. And so yeah. And by the way, speaking of personality tests, the only one that I think is worth it and is very accurate is called the Enneagram. It starts with the ENN. Graham. I'm not the best speller, but I know it's ENN. And take that test. It'll be really interesting. Like if you're ever, maybe we could take it and then like compare results on Sunday. But so yeah, that's spiral dynamics, and that's what I think about all those personality tests. I don't think most of them are worth shit, but except for the Enneagram. And this is very good at understanding personalities, understanding yourself and your motivations and where you are, and then other people. But it gets really deep. The science behind it gets really deep. I think it's really fun, but there's that. Let me see. Interesting, Bob says, I would have thought about power being on a hierarchy of needs. Yeah, power is in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it's in here too. It's like, but it's like, what is your main concern? And I think like on spiral dynamics, the red people are like really, or I forgot. I just went over it. Let me see. Like which one is it? I always forget. Purple is tribal. Yeah. Red is power, and status and all of that. And, but Maslow's hierarchy of needs has that too. And, yeah, I'm an INFP, apparently. Mediator or something. I took the test while I was dating because apparently that was important during COVID. Really? Was it important during COVID? I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, the thing about Myers-Briggs and any of the personality tests, but Myers-Briggs is a little bit more accurate, is that you have to be self-aware. You know, and I've met people that are like, oh, I'm this. And I'm like, bitch, you are not that. And then like, I don't really care. Okay. I don't care. But like my personality, it's like an INFJ, and that is like supposedly the rarest personality. Right. And so I know when someone has it because they're super intuitive. There's like, I've met one other INFJ, and it's like, the way we think about things, it's not like how other people think about things. And they're called the counselor. And so we can't help but be in helping professions. And we're the type of helpers that are also like spiritual, and like we're scientific and spirit. Like we're just, if you really meet another INFJ, it's kind of fun, but anyway, I just think it's so annoying because like everyone's like, yeah, I'm an INFJ. It's the rarest. Shut up. You're not. You just need to feel special. And I mean, I get it. Like, and I think that that's a human need to feel special, but find another way because you're not an INFJ. I don't want to see one. And like an INFJs, because we're highly empathic, and people, you know, and not all people, but like narcissists, or, you know, they're like, oh, Lauren will get over it. Cause you have this high level of tolerance for things because you understand psychology and energy and people's pain and everything on another level. Like even before they tell you things, like you can tell. And so we have this high level of, or like a high threshold for like bullshit and things like that. But we tell people, we're like, hey, this is our boundary, but in a way where we're not kicking and screaming. We're just like, and so they're like, yeah, that bitch will get over it. And then there's a thing called the INFJ door slam, where we're like, I told you 100 times, peace. And they're like, what the fuck? Like, and it feels like a door slam to the other person, but it's like, I actually told you so many times. And people around them will be like, yeah, Lauren told you a million times. And, but it feels like a door slam to the person that gets cut off. And yeah, if you look it up, it's called the INFJ door slam. And really, I think it applies to like a lot of people that are empaths that have developed healthy boundaries. They have that thing where they're not an exploding doormat, like they put up with a lot of things. And then all of a sudden they're like, bitch, I told you about it. Like, no, or fuck no, I'm not doing that. Stop asking me for this. Stop draining my money and time and whatever. Like, that's the exploding doormat that a lot of empaths and codependent people go through, where they just tolerate until they don't. But like when an empath has boundaries, they'll say them, and then it's like, okay, the tribe has spoken, you got to go now. So I asked a lot, I think people, yeah, I mean, but when you're bored, I think that's a fun thing to do. Very fitting for you to get the counselor. Yeah. And like, I mean, I always knew like from a young age, I was going to be doing something in psychology. Like I wanted to get a degree in psychology, and I like when I was 10 or whatever, and I didn't even know why. I just, it was just like my calling. And I think that's true for everyone, but anyway, like it's fun to take, like if you're on a healing journey, it's really fun to take those tests when like as you heal and as you evolve, and to see if you get a different outcome, because you become more self-aware, so you could answer the questions a lot more honestly. So that's all about that. Rob never filled us in on what was going on with him. I was so curious. Okay. By the way, I did a short, or like a video. No, it was a clip. It was a clip from one of the live streams about how narcissists never let you sleep. And oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on with YouTube. I feel like my stuff is being suppressed, but whatever. But on TikTok and Instagram, I can't believe how many people, I mean, I can, but people were like, oh my God, I thought it was just me. Like, yes. Like, I mean, I've heard like, it's really, if you go on my Instagram and look in the comments, I mean, people were like, I was pregnant and my husband never let me sleep. My partner like kept me up till 6 a.m. on my first day of work, and I had to go to work like all tired. Like, it's a huge manipulation tactic. And also sociopaths do that too. They don't want you to sleep. They want you to be sleep deprived and just the things that are dangerous for your health. And they also want you to like break down physically. They want you to get uglier and fatter and just whatever, like, so you're not, or at least to them, they're perceiving you like as not desirable to anyone else, so you won't leave them. And it's this whole sick thing that is real, unfortunately. So, and then let me see. So what if you walk through the streets and expect people to move out of the way? Or people think, hold on, I'm waiting for the rest of this to load. People move out of the way, or think people should know who they are. And if they get knocked, they give a load of abuse and it's personal. Yeah, I get what this person is saying. This is from the comments in Instagram. And it's like that sense of entitlement. Like you're supposed to, that's another thing that narcissists say. Like you are supposed to know how I feel. Like, so if you're in an argument with one, I don't know if you've ever had this with a borderline or narcissist, where it's like, you should know how I feel. I shouldn't have to say that. And again, it's another form of not taking any accountability. So it's like your communication skills fucking suck, and it's my fault. That's what you're saying to me? Yes, because you should know how I feel and you should know how I want and you should be able to anticipate all of my needs and wants. And if you don't, there's something wrong. You're defective in some way and there's something wrong with you and it's not my fault. That's literally a thing. And it's another way to not take any accountability. And you don't have to put up with that. Okay. You don't have to put up with that. Can you share your knowledge about the overlap of borderline and narcissistic personality disorder? So I think a lot of times, well, at least when I have a new client, they're like, I don't know, I'm dealing with a borderline or narcissistic personality. And I think like if you're not familiar, and hopefully you're not that familiar with it, but like with personality disorders, it does feel very similar, especially in the beginning. They're very charming. But if we break it down from the beginning, the idealization phase, borderline people are described as very freaking fun. They're so fun, right? They both become like what you want them to be in a way, but like borderline people, because they're so effusive and like affectionate and everything, they can make you feel really good. And it's like putting you on a pedestal, and they're just like, because they're so highly emotional, but all the emotions are really good, And then with narcissists are more charming, but their manipulation tactics are for you to feel like they are amazing. And they'll put you on a pedestal in order to do that. They're like, oh my God, this person thinks I can do no wrong. This is wonderful. And so, but also they will do things like, give elaborate gifts or let me show you how amazing I am, because they're looking for that praise. So it's more centered on them in the idealization phase. And then in the devaluing phase of narcissists and borderlines, it could look pretty similar. Like, what? I thought you thought I was amazing, or what do I need to do to get that back? What happened? Type of feeling with them. And then the like the breakup phase is pretty similar. There's like a lot of drama. There's a lot of, the difference is like narcissists tend to pull away, and that's when they'll go to different supply. They're like, oh yeah, because they always have supply in the background. So then they start cheating. They start talking shit about their partner with, or whomever they're dating with the supply, like, oh my God, they're crazy or whatever. And then meanwhile, borderline people are like, I am going to lose my shit, because their anxious attachment is through the roof. And so they try to do more. They don't understand. They might be a little stalkery. They might be like, what else can I do to like get you back? And also borderline people, because a lot of them also have disorganized attachment. I refuse to call it anxious avoidant, like fearful, whatever. It's disorganized. We have anxious, we have avoidant, and we have disorganized as both. I don't know why we like all these other terms that people use to make themselves feel smart. Like it's disorganized, and it feels very disorganized. Like you're 1 minute you're like fuck you, like the borderline people can be like fuck off, just like the narcissist can like detach, and then they're like swinging right back like no, go back. And so it's very, and then the person is like, whoa, what's going on, which version am I getting? And then the person experiencing that from a borderline can kind of think it's exciting, because unconsciously get kind of addicted to that excitement and in the back and forth of that. But the real interesting thing is when a narcissist and a borderline personality get together, because then all of their tactics are like going back and forth. You could see this on reality TV sometimes, but yeah, they go back and forth with their whole thing. And then again, like they finally break up, and then the hoovering starts, where they start, stalking each other or looking at their stuff, and then poking and prodding, and then, oh, let's get back together. Then that idealization phase is all fun and it takes over for a second. Then the fighting starts all over again. But that's kind of like a quick synopsis of that. Like, but yeah, but borderline people are highly emotional, and narcissists, they're emotional because they want you to feel a certain way about them. But it's like narcissists, it's like, I need the praise, I need the adoration, I need the attention. And then borderline people are like, please don't abandon me. Like, whatever, I'll take attention. I'll be like a monk in Antarctica or whatever. Just please don't leave me. Please don't abandon me, is more what they're looking for. Yeah, and then someone's like, somehow they end up attracting each other. They do often. Right, Bob? You've had a few narcissistic relationships. they do sometimes attract each other. Let's see. I've seen a lot of channels lately drop in view count, probably something going on with the algorithm. Yeah, and YouTube, so they just announced that they're changing the rules for like views. So you had to be you had to have 4,000, but in February of next year, you're gonna have to have 8,000 to have 8,000 views to have your channel monetized. And they are changing, I think they're implementing other things in the algorithm right now. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but it's really annoying to me that like the notifications. So I used to only have notifications on if someone commented on a video of mine so I could comment back. I like being interactive with you guys. Now I'm getting notifications about every fucking thing. And it's really annoying. And it's like, because I have notifications on other, things that I try to respond to. So I don't like what's going on right now. Hopefully it balances out. Bob says, love bombing and toxicity for sure. The black and white thinking can be super intense. Yes. And so that's another thing. I covered it in that video, but the black and white thinking is very intense with borderlines, and it's expressed differently. I think that narcissists also have borderline thinking, where it's either like you're either supply or fuck off, like, or you're either like someone I can use, or if you try to call me out on my shit, the smear campaign will start and I'm villainizing you. So they both like villainize people, but it just shows up differently. And the reaction behind the black and white thinking is, I think, more intense for, and it's more, they actually like borderline people are actually experiencing that when they have black and white thinking. There is a lot of deep feeling that is going on, and it's very difficult and very, uncomfortable amount of like emotional turmoil that's going on, whereas the narcissist really goes out of their way to stuff and numb their feelings as much as possible. So yeah, but because of that, also both are prone to addictions. Bob, that's why grounding is so important for borderlines, in my opinion. Blowing up and desperately regretting it is devastating for everyone involved. Yeah. Getting through dysregulation is key. Yes. So grounding, and that's like a DBT technique, or that's part of the DBT therapy, is a grounding thing to bring yourself back into your body, because you are so taken by your emotions that some people I've heard like just completely dissociate or black out. Like you can black out from alcohol. People black out from their anger or rage or anxiety, or just really dysregulated, being really upset about something, about some perceived abandonment. So yeah, it can be a lot, and it's hard to, and it's again, yeah, then you regret it the next day. I mean, just like how alcoholics talk about getting really wasted and doing something that they regret and feeling really bad about it. That's what happens with borderlines, so yeah, you learn to ground, but like the thing is that borderline people are so much more open to getting better, like if they want to. I've mentioned that before, whereas narcissists, they are just like, I am really going to do everything I can to avoid accountability, and I have met people that have come into my private practice not willingly. It's like, okay, my wife told me to be here type of thing, so I'm gonna do it. But they're like, yeah, I have some of those tendencies, those narcissistic tendencies, and they're just really defensive about them. So, or they just like protect. They're like, just who I am. By the way, if we ever hear anyone, but a narcissist say this a lot, well, that's just who I am. That's just who I am. Run, because that is a form of not taking accountability for your behavior. That's just who I am. It's like, and it's a form of, I think it's abusive. I think it's emotionally abusive. So it's like, what it's asking is, you have to tolerate my behavior because I refuse to take responsibility for it. And that's your fault. And I'm going to make it seem like you're not tolerant, or there's something wrong with you, because why would you attack me for me being the human that I am? That's what they're trying to do when they say that's just who I am. It's not acceptable. I have and I have a story about this, like, one narcissist, let's call her Anna, okay? Anna was, and like narcissists always have this like personality that they try to put on. So Anna was always trying to be like this like fake Sofia Vergara, like, oh, I'm so Latin and da la la. It was like, and so, like most narcissists, she had like a few superficial friends, and everyone's like, Lauren, stay away from her. And one of the things she would do is like, oh my God, do you like my Chanel bag? Can you grab my Chanel bag right there? And oh my God, did you notice that I'm in head to toe Hermes? Like, how embarrassing is that? It would be like, Anna, please, like, don't talk about. And then she'd be like, isn't it so cute how that girl has like little cheapy things? Because her self-esteem was so low. So she was over-identified with like material things and really did not understand how tacky and embarrassing that was. And so I pulled her aside one time and I'm like, I can't talk like that. It's like really tacky and rude. And she's like, that's just who I am. This is who I am. And I'm like, well, who you are is shitty then. Like, what do you want, ma'am? Like, you cannot go around saying that. Like, and for you to say that's just who I am, what, a superficial like cunt? Like, no, like, you can't, or maybe you are. I mean, fine, that's what you're saying, that's what you're admitting to, but it would serve you to not act like that in front of other people. Like and like where we live, it was like an affluent place. It's like people have nice things, it doesn't matter. Like, you can't just talk about people like that or talk about yourself or like have your whole personality be like, oh, I have that bag. She was so mad. So it doesn't go well when you call them out on it, but I'm like gangster like that and I got to do it sometimes. But yeah, so if you do come across people that do that's just a how I am thing, run away from them and never look back. Bob, yes, we fit puzzle pieces very well, but in the most toxic way, the borderline and narcissist. I know. But it's every relationship is a mirror, right? So it is a phenomenon that a lot of narcissists and borderlines find each other, but it's to highlight like what you need to work on. But sometimes it just perpetuates the toxicity. And also with narcissists can like bring out borderline tendencies in people. Like, you are like, if you're stuck in, I've noticed this with like married couples that I've worked with, like let's say the husband's narcissistic and the wife will just start to split. Like, she's like, I don't usually lie or whatever, but it's just like, I just say whatever and I just go off and do my own thing. And like kind of like, not like thinking in black and white terms, but kind of like living a double life, or just like, oh yeah, whatever, or just kind of like gets highly emotional. She's like, I was never emotional like this before. I would never, have these outbursts, but like, since I've been married to him, I feel this way. And it's because they want like justice. They want to be seen. They're still thinking like a rational person. So sometimes like narcissists can like provoke those feelings in you, but it's not like full blown. It just like some of the defense mechanisms are brought up in their partner in that way, I've noticed, which is really interesting. Bob, in my opinion, on the black and white difference between the two is borderline tends to be more desperate. Yeah. Narcissists tend to be more calculated. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. It's like this desperate, I feel like it comes from like an anxious attachment place, of like that abandonment moon being hit on with narcissists, but like with, I'm sorry, with borderlines people, it tends to be that abandonment mood being hit on. But with narcissists, when they think that way, it's also a way for them to numb out to accountability. Like, whatever, you're a stupid bitch, like type of thing. It doesn't matter. Or that's just the way I am, whatever, like type of like, but it's just like, it's like a different form of it. Hi, Joe Wolf. How are you? Good evening to you too, Joe. How are you doing? Do you have any wins to celebrate this week? No matter how small or big they are, like, do you have any things that you're happy about that you did that are moving you in the direction that you want to move in? And any other intentions between now and Sunday? I still have my intention to put out a long form video. I want to do one on the affirmations they're not really affirmations. They're just, I guess they are, to help rewire your brain for wealth. And I want to do them for all of them, but I did one for wealth, confidence, and but I did a series on wealth or financial prosperity. And so people got a lot of value out of that. And so I think it's good. It's like whatever we're flooding our mind with constantly is what we get. So sometimes you hear people say, well, affirmations don't work. Well, if you don't want them to, but whatever story you're constantly telling yourself is what is going to, whatever story you're constantly telling yourself and you really believe is going to be reflected in your outside world. And so we have social conditioning around everything, including money. And so money is important for a lot of reasons. We need it to survive, but also money is an amplifier. Money makes you more of who you are. So money in itself is a neutral energy. And sometimes people are like, I don't know where this came from, but well, actually I do. Like money is the root of all evil. It was to keep poor people in their place, like especially during the Industrial Revolution, so people can be controlled. That's another story. But it's not good or evil. It's just what it does is an amplifier. So if you have more of it, you have more freedom in a lot of ways. And the good parts of you and bad parts of you or shadow part of you will be larger. And so it's an opportunity to become better or become worse, depending on the thing is like sometimes people that don't want to work on themselves, that really don't do therapy or don't look at themselves, they just get enablers and they keep the enablers really close to them. And so they keep doing their thing. And so it's an amplifier in that way of, then you just have superficial relationships and then you accuse people of only wanting to be around you or like you for money. So it's like that. I've seen that with money, but I've seen the opposite with money too, where people get large amounts of money or accumulate wealth, and then they're more generous and they're more relaxed and they're more spiritual, and they could be work on their relationship or their like intimacy with God and getting closer to God. So money is an amplifier for whatever you want. And I really encourage every client I have when I work with them on financial prosperity and accumulating more of that. It's like, what do you want your life to look like? Okay, yes, the material things and everything, but what is your sense of being when you have whatever you want in your bank account and reoccurring amounts in your bank account and type of wealth and prosperity that you are creating, manifesting? What do you want that to feel like? Like, what is your interactions with people look like? Are you in a like resentful, like, haha, look at me type of thing? Are you in a generous place? Are you relaxed? Or do you not care? Are you more family oriented? Because you can be. Like, these are like things to really think about as you are manifesting. But I like to call it financial prosperity, because when people say abundance could be anything. Abundance could be an abundance of bills or like, things that you don't want. Let's just say that. So yes. Abel, when I would pass by Hollywood beams of light, they would light up. I don't know what that means. You have records of it? Okay. There you go. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions or comments or anything else? I think I answered all the questions from here. My brother is literally a textbook case of a borderline, but when he splits, it's anytime you stand up for yourself. Yeah. Borderline people often, yeah, exactly. That's their defense mechanism, is to split. I love when someone like doesn't watch my video and then comments. So on this video, I said one of the first things I said is both borderline and narcissistic people are, emotionally like, and they're dysregulated, their nervous system. And then they wrote, "You don't know what you're talking about. Both borderline and narcissistic people are dysregulated." I'm like, bitch, that was literally the first thing I said. It's just like I don't know. I mean, like, if you're going to argue with me, like, make a compelling point, like, make it interesting for me. Let me look what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know how to feel. What do you mean you don't know how to feel? You just feel. Defensiveness is on brand. It's very on brand, right? Living in that constant, like, defensive, like, you're so everything's a threat, and very different. Like, for a narcissist, it's a threat because it's like, I need you to like me. I need you to like me so much." And with borderline, it's like, "I need you to not abandon me, okay?" So, both of them have defensiveness in different ways. Joe says, "There was a married woman that is trying to get my attention since I've been in studio playing." Oh, well, I mean, I would leave her alone if I were you. Unless you don't I mean, like, honestly, here's the thing, guys. I really don't have, like, a lot of judgment in the way that "Run away," Bob says. Yeah. Like, I just, I for what I do, I can hear about affairs all the time. That's on you. I mean, that's your thing or whatever, but the fact that you're writing about it, it's kind of like, I would stay away from it. I you know, when I deal with that in my private practice, it's never like a glamorous, nice situation when you get involved in an affair, whether you're married or not. So never a good vibe, you know? And let's go after people that are fully emotionally available. Yay. So we're not getting in any of that because um being or attracting or being attracted to someone that's not emotionally available, whether it's like a partner, romantic situation, or even it could be in other situations like with friends or anything where you're constantly like pursuing them in this way that they're like the other person's like, I don't care. It's not nice. It's not like you deserve better than that, but the underlying thing is like, I'm not worthy of having someone fully show up for me or fully see and hear me and love me. So there's that piece to why you're unconsciously attracting that or attracted to that. And it's also with that, it could be like, I'm afraid of someone seeing who I am because I don't want to be rejected, or because someone along the way told me I was a bad person or that I'm not worthy of it. And part of me still thinks that's true. So I'm going to go after unavailable people because they won't ever fully see me because we're not close enough for that to ever happen. So on the surface, it looks like I'm suffering and I just want you to come closer. But like, if you did, I'd be freaked out. And I don't really want that. Right. Those are the two things. And then the other abandonment wound is like, you were always chasing an unavailable parent. You really wanted a certain parent to love you. And so you find that in other people to try to get that love and attention. But still, the underlying psychology is, why am I not good enough for you to love me, mom or dad? I must not be good enough. So the underlying wound and false belief is that I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of love. So let me chase this unavailable person because that feels familiar to me. So you deserve better. If that is you, that's okay if you've gone after unavailable people because that feels familiar. That's what you were unconsciously told that love was. And so you get to have a new relationship with what love means. It means someone is fully able to see and hear you and cares and supports you and loves you. And you get to have that fully. One of my exes sent me nudes when she was engaged forever ago. I sent them to her fiance. I would. I don't know. Good for you. High five. I mean, yeah, and the funny thing is like with things like that, I wonder if they still got married. But because people that are in those dynamics, it's like, it's not like shocking, the red flag is there. You might have been ignoring it, but yeah. Yep. Yeah, people that have personality disorders and intimacy issues will fuck up their relationship. And you're engaged and you're doing that. Of course. Of course it is. That's funny. I'm glad you did. Sorry. No. I'm Pop, I'm proud of you too. I'm like I would have done the same thing, honestly. And, because it's like, okay. And what I do, like, because I've done a lot of healing from narcissistic relationships, and so a lot of times those people will circle back, and I'm like, "Let me roll my sleeves up, and I'll write, like, the best masterpiece." I'm telling you. You know how people have, like, books of poetry? I'm gonna have, like, books of, like, just these masterpieces I've written to different narcissists and, like, just completely telling them the fuck off when they thought I was gonna be like, "Oh my god, I miss you." I just go off on them, and it's, like, beautiful. In, like, a very, like, calm way. I'm not like, "Fuck you," or whatever. I'm just kind of like, "Yeah, you are just this is all you really are," and that's not what they wanna hear, trust me. But, um, yeah, it felt good to me. So, wha Joe says, "Bob, you rule." Bob does rule. Um, Bob, I was surprised he still wanted to fight me. I helped the guy out. Like, that's what I'm saying. So in these toxic relationships, you're helping them out, and then they wanna fight you. It's like they will defend the toxic relationships and the toxic person and, like, convince themselves because of all the love bombing that went on, they will convince themselves that it's this other person. But the truth is that when you are in a healthy, safe relationship, you're in your couple bubble, and no one can get in there, but you're not reaching out to people outside of the couple bubble. You are not sending someone nudes when you are in a healthy, safe relationship. And it wouldn't matter if, 100 guys were like, send me nudes or whatever. Like, you just don't do that. But somehow it's easier to metabolize, oh, it's the other person's fault instead of being like, I'm with someone I shouldn't be. I'm engaged to someone that I should not be engaged to. It's really interesting how that denial system, like, clicks in with people who don't wanna see the truth. Wow. Oh, thank you, Abel. That's nice of you. Yeah. That is one of my intentions, is to grow this channel and do more long form things. And, I'm gonna do some inner child stuff and then those affirmations because I think I like listening to those affirmations or those subliminals. And, like, I'll just be cleaning my place or I'll fall asleep to them. So I wanna make some of those, like, just, like, ones that are, like, an hour long, not the 8-hour ones or anything. But, yeah, and then, like, the inner child stuff, I truly know and believe that if you're open to it, it can be very emotional, right? But if you're open to it, inner child work, what's called family systems work in psychology, is one of the fastest ways to reprogram your brain, and it's one of the fastest ways to, like, unearth all of those unconscious things, those triggers, whatever's coming up for you, or even just like, "Man, I'm in a funk today. Why?" If you can talk to your inner children, if you're familiar with them and can talk to them, it just, not like fixes it, but it just rewires you. So you're not like stuck in that emotion, right? You're able to process it and release it, which is what we want to do with emotional energy in general. But a lot of, relationship patterns like get stuck, like sadness. We could be addicted to sadness or victimhood or anxiety, and we don't know why because it's been unconscious for so long. So I'm going to do some more. By Sunday, I will have a new long form video out. Yes, that's happening. Um, Abel, when I was 5, I was labeled problematic and I think I wasn't. Yeah, and then when you're labeled something so young, it's kind of like that story is kind of implemented. It's like, "Oh, there's a problem child, blah, blah, blah," and it might have been like your parents projecting whatever they wanted to project onto you, but people in family systems, especially toxic family systems, do that. They're like, "This kid is this way, blah, blah, blah." Like, the whole, like, the star of the family, the black sheep, the scapegoat. The scapegoat and the black sheep are often the same kid, the star of the family, but the problematic kid is usually the scapegoat kid. And so but oftentimes the problematic kid or the kid that's acting up is actually the healthiest one, is actually the most emotionally and psychologically healthiest one because they're like, "What the fuck? These something's going on here and it's not right." I was definitely that in my family system because I wasn't willing to pretend like everything was okay when it wasn't. That's wild to me. How can a 5-year-old be problematic? I mean, you're probably just being a kid. And, some toddlers, well, you're getting out of toddlerhood at 5, but, like, you know, you toddlers have their temper tantrums, but, like, starting around 5 years old, you develop a personality. "Hi, Mike." And you begin to individuate in certain ways as that you become your own individual, and sometimes parents don't like that. And really, when I hear parents say a 5-year-old was problematic, it's because you weren't doing what I wanted you to do. So maybe you were independent in some type of way, or you weren't being the way that they wanted you to be, which is really sad for, you're 5, you're just supposed to be a little 5-year-old. And that's one of the things that they talk about, or one of the, like, foundational things in inner child work / family systems work is, like, you tell that version of yourself, "Hey, you get to just be a kid. You were given all these responsibilities or all these labels that weren't true. Now it's 2026, and you tell that 5-year-old version of you, you can just be a 5-year-old and you're perfectly perfect just the way you are." Abel, 5-year-old version of Abel, you just get to be that way. Like, that's all that you have to do is be you, and, like, so that version of you as a 5-year-old feels safe and feels supported and loved, and, like, because you get to be loved just because you're you, especially, always. But, like, kids should be told that you're loved just because you're you. Okay. So if anyone has any more questions about mental health, relationships, your healing journey, let me know. Otherwise, I'll wrap it up. I try to wrap it up by now because it's later for Bob, and we want to respect his time. Thank you so much, Bob, for moderating. But yeah, thanks for telling me that, because I'm like, about the algorithm, because I'm like, is it just me with I'm only posting shorts really right now, but I'm gonna start posting. But I'm like, what the fuck is going on with my views? Like, I thought I got shadow banned for doing something offensive, but I think it's just the algorithm changing. Okay, well, give me one question, Abel, and then you could give us more questions on Sunday when we live stream on Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific. And then I'll wrap it up. But if not, I'll wrap it up now. Okay. Well, I'm not getting any more questions. Great live stream, you guys. I will see you Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific, and for Soothing Sundays, and to answer more questions. And then if you have a question that pops up, you can put it in my send me a DM, and then I'll remember to answer it on Sunday. Why would everyone disappear after my father's death? I never saw or expected that coming. Well, that's very complicated. I mean, people don't tend to just disappear. So it's probably very nuanced maybe your father just held things together and then scattered after that. That's a very nuanced question. I'd have to know a lot of details. Bob says, pleasure as always. Sorry, no, you weren't rambling at all. No, we were having a conversation. Always. No, thank you. Thank you for your input. And that was very entertaining. I love that you gave the ex, or you told the ex, and then he still didn't care, but whatever. That's their life to live. But you're never rambling, Bob. We appreciate you so much, and your and all of your input and knowledge. How do I avoid? So yes, and thank you for keeping these streets clean. That's painful. Yeah, it is painful, especially it's a double grief, right? When you have your father die and then everyone kind of scatters. So it could be a lot of different things. But yes. Okay. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up now, Joe, but let's talk more about who you're talking about because you wrote, "How do I avoid her?" And I would say, oh, with the lady from the you just don't talk to her. That's how you avoid her. You keep it light and polite and keep it moving, you know? That's it. It's not like that big of a, you know how to do that. I know you do. I believe you. I believe in you. You're welcome, Abel. Yeah, the married woman. So, you just avoid her. It's like, I mean, is she stalking you? I don't think so. Just be light and polite and keep it moving. Say hi, bye. Um, it happens. I don't know. I don't know. When you're a girl, this happens all the time. It's just like act like a girl acts when you're trying to hit on her and she doesn't want anything to do with you. Act like that. It's super easy. um, just keep it light and polite and focus on people that are emotionally available. Let's do that. All right, guys, have a lovely Wednesday evening. Get good sleep, and I will see you guys Sunday. And I can't wait to hear about all of your wins for the week and intentions for the week. I love you guys.